Well, have no fear. The alien revelation is near. Welcome all walks up to news that's not for everybody. Alien madness is on its way. Let's skip the intro and have some fun today here on Visual Disturbance. Welcome all walks of life to the channel. Thank y'all so very much for being here. It's been about a week or so since we've been live. I want to thank y'all so very much for being back here on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon talking about this particular topic. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be talking about alien madness. Yeah, it's alien madness all the time. And this is one of my, let's just say, hot topics, something I love to talk about, and something that I think goes back to antiquity and something that folks need to know and be very informative about, because the things that are come upon the earth, well, let's just say the Bible talks about it. Men's hearts will fail them looking after the things come upon the earth. So here we are. And before we get into too much into the broadcast and too much in the weeds, I want to thank y'all so very much for being here. Big hello to all walks of life in the chat. Hit the links in the description box. Share this thing out. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Aliens are on their way, folks. Or have they always been here, right? And we've talked about this many times here on the channel. But let's talk about an individual that's dropped some interesting little nidbit of information last night on the X Factor on the social media platforms, and went a little trending and went a little bit, let's just say, down the rabbit trail we go when it comes to this alien phenomenon. Well, televangelist Perry Stone made a very interesting commentary about a particular, let's just say, event and a gathering of pastors that talk about these craft and aliens, and he mentions a certain term that we're going to be talking about after we watch this clip. But let's give it up for Perry Stone and his commentary on this, because it's pretty interesting indeed. Yeah, there's going to be a release of concerning aliens, a release of files. You need to prepare your people. So let's just get into this and see what Mr. Perry Stone had to say.
I had a friend. I had a friend that sent me a text message. I was in a meeting, a weekend meeting, preaching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, and he said, "Perry, can you give me a call? I have some information that has come to my attention." Of course, when a friend of yours does that you know quite well, you have no idea what information they're talking about. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. And this particular man, and I'll not name him, and then we may end up doing some teachings with him or having an event at his church. He has a great church. But he said, "Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released." And some of it has to do with crafts that have been discovered that are not allegedly a part of our planet, and the materials they're made of are not a part of our planet. Very strange reptilian-looking creatures, and other things that almost sound like something out of a sci-fi movie or an Orson Welles book.
Well, folks, there you have it. And I'm going to be as serious as I possibly can here during this program. A lot of times I go on these Brian's rants and go down a lot of humorous factors to everything and kind of really get into some crazy things and theories. But I have exhausted myself for probably, I don't know, since 2008. Had this conversation with folks in the past, and here we are, it's at the doorstep, okay? What Mr. Stone just said, they're preparing this group of pastors that have intel, that have, let's just say, a little bit of higher stature, okay? Let's just try to be a little bit lighthearted here in the terminology. And not knocking off on anybody whatsoever for the everybody watching this. I don't want to get into confliction whatsoever. I don't have that type of mentality. But these individuals met, and Mr. Burleson, from what I gather, that's at the top of the UFO phenomenon and trying to release this information with all these black sites and different things to that magnitude that involve craft, extraterrestrials, biologicals, you name it, you have it. I remember something way before you see visual disturbance on the screen here. I used to be a milkman. I was the crazy milkman. Okay, the milkman that knew a lot but never got hurt. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Well, I used to go to a gathering or a church body. Okay, I'm not going to knock off on anybody. I brought information to the individuals back in 2015 all the way up to 2017, talked about the book of Enoch, talked about Genesis 6, the sons of God made with the daughters of men, and they took wives as they chose. I talked about the book of Enoch, and it was like, let's just excuse my Kentucky flavor here, but it was like taking a powder keg of information and throwing it on an old fire, but the flame was already out before I threw the powder keg on it, and I got snuffed out before I even knew it. And these individuals I cared about a lot, and I literally presented this stuff to them, and they just said, "Yeah, I know, brother. Ain't nothing to it, though. That's all figurative." And then I knew back then that what I'm hearing from folks, even of a higher authority, even of a church body, they had a default because they're scared. It dawned on me back then, and now it's dawning on me back in this day and age, in this time frame. Their default was to just snuff out anything else out of the ordinary. Anything else. Don't even dare go back to antiquity. Don't go back to the ancient days of Noah, even prior to that. Don't go digging into any kind of theories, right? Tinfoil hat loving folks, right? Don't get involved in those conspiracies. But here we go. We got this individual talking about preparing your people. I've seen a bunch of rhetoric online, trending videos, and people talking about it, and people are like, well, we can't trust everything we see on the TV. Well, I've been saying that for a long time. Even when I brought that back to people's attention back in the day, they could not hear me because I didn't have, let's just say, a high stature. I didn't have a degree. I wasn't indoctrinated. Think about it. Think about what I just said. Not throwing off anything, not putting any fire toward anybody, but it was very disheartening. And then you bring this stuff up, this commentary back then, if I could go back in time, that's preposterous, Brian. Why would you bring this up? This is nothing to our doctrine or anything. Well, I'm going to take you all down a rabbit trail here that actually has some information to antiquity. So you're going to enjoy this because there's nothing new under the sun. We can talk about aliens, UFOs, and anything goes, and giants, and the Nephilim, the Raphaim, the Gilbarim. We can talk about Gilgamesh coming out of his coffin, doing a little backflip, and get a little pixie dust along the way, and coming back into reality, and voila, it's magic, right? Whatever type of rhetoric you'll hear on television. Well, news is not for everybody. Alien madness. Tune in to the insanity, like we always talk about here on the channel. So let's just go down the crazy rabbit trail. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's go back to antiquity, and let's go to Iraq, okay? Anybody out there knows what Iraq is? Well, I feel like a wreck right now just talking about this commentary here on this conversation piece. But 7,000 years ago, we have these old reptilian-like statues found in Iraq. These Ubaid lizard men, right? Well, when you think about this and this primarily discovered statue in Tel Ubaid, these sites represent this culture that precede Sumerians and the Mesopotamia, okay? So something here that I want to point out. I want to point out here, if you can see on the screen. Hopefully everybody can see it. And these physical features of this, because we're going to really go down in some like psychologically warfare, subliminal messaging along the way too, that just makes me resonate with TV shows and movies and just stuff that's been inundated in our television, with the rabbit ears, so to speak. So these physical features here, if we want to look at this in more depth, the statues depict both male and females with slender bodies, okay? And broad shoulders and elongated heads. We talked about elongated heads on this channel so many different times. It's almost preposterous that it's not a real thing. I mean, seriously. That's all been proven. That's all been fact. That actually did happen. There was elongated skulls. Even folks in the back in the day was trying to take a device to basically pull and make the elongated head's shape on even a regular human to show that godlike stature. Okay? So you have these lizard faces, these almond-shaped eyeballs, slanted eyes, and long, stouted snouts that strongly represent reptilian features. Okay? What I want to point this out with these postures, as you can see here, there's a baby depiction over on the far right there, and a depiction of like casually nurturing, like you're nurturing poses. And you have the male and the female. They hold staffs, and you have these specters. They have these specters, and with the female figurines often showing breastfeeding. Okay? We want to hone in on that for a little bit, okay? Because we're going to really take into, it's a news that's not for everybody, folks. So we have these lizard-like features, okay? Lizard-like people breastfeeding infants of some shape or form. What do we have here? We have these staffs that held up, and these specters, and they're going around like a wizardry. You hear about the biblical narrative talking about the days of Moses. The staff. What is going on here? It's interesting to say the least. So we have these you bad lizard man. I'm sorry, you-eyed lizard man. I'm getting tongue-tied, folks. This is such a controversial topic here. These you-eyed lizard men. Okay, so hold that thought, because there's going to be something really interesting that we need to go down with this knowledge, right? So why in the world would there be something depicted? And I've asked myself even today, like when we're looking at this stuff and we're saying, okay, there's, children drawing petroglyphs and hieroglyphics back in the day. Well, you must have been a very talented kid if you was doing hieroglyphics. But, you're making all this artwork on the side of rocks. Well, it's interesting that somebody took the time to mold a statue to give us the depiction for humanity and for somebody to find in the future. So it's just interesting to me how this is all playing out. We got folks like with secret meetings, and we're pastors and talking about preparing your people for this disclosure event. And here I am talking about this 7,000 years ago, and it would fall on deaf ears if they're like, move on, silly milkman, broken down milkman with visual disturbances and visual issues. Move on. You have no knowledge. You are incompetent. Well, if these things come upon the earth one day and making people's hearts go away, you know what I'm saying? Men's hearts will fail them looking after the things upon the earth. Well, there's some very interesting things. Well, I could stay here all day, and I had to nitpick on what I was going to present today, because there's so much about reptilians, serpent-like beings, ancient antiquity, you name it, you got it. It's crazy town, okay? It's crazy town. So, yeah, I know, I misspoke earlier. Sonny, I always appreciate you so much. Big shout out to you, Sonny. You're always correcting me, and I appreciate that about you. And even in the comments, and that's why I always like having your comments, even though they're a little bit straightforward, and sometimes if it was any other person in the world, they would probably hurt their feelings, but I just take it as good critiquing and criticism, and it actually makes me stronger, it makes me better. So I appreciate the criticism, and I appreciate you critiquing me and helping me along the way, Sonny. So thank you for being part of the chat, and thank you for being part of Visual Disturbance. The scepter. I said specter, didn't I? The specter. Scepter. Correction. The scepter. the staff, the scepters. Okay. For anyway, spectating and specters, and speaking of crazy things of interdimensional hypothesis, thank you for correcting me there, Sonny. Good call, my friend. Good call. That's why I appreciate you. I really do. I haven't ever got to tell you that. So welcome to the channel. So, not only do we have other things that go out through antiquity, and we have this one subject that really just gets me every time, and we've talked about it here on the channel, the Nagas. Okay? So a lot of folks don't know about the Nagas, and when we look at the Sanskrit Naga, and we look at the Hinduism and Buddhist and the Jain traditions, these in quote, semi-divine beings, okay? And they are typically depicted as serpentine creatures, okay? Often appearing as a great cobra, okay? Humans with snake-like lower bodies, or humans with a canopy of cobra hoods. Think about what I'm saying here. Why would somebody even take the time to immortalize this forever if it has nothing to do with our humanity, historical, let's just say hidden truths into our craziness with our world? So mythologies, roles, all that different things when it comes to the Nagas, they're often depicted as protectors of riches, of Earth's riches, including gems, gold, sacred texts. And in Buddhism, there's a famous credited with the guarding of the, I can't pronounce it, Pramana Sutras until humanity was ready to receive them. So forgive me for butchering that the best I could. So the one thing I want to hone in on and focus on here, we have water deities. We've talked about water many times from the channel. Water deities with the Nagas are deeply connected with water, oceans, lakes, rivers, and whales. And it makes you think, when you go out to the western parts of America, the Sipapu with the Indian culture talked about the circle where their ancients would come back. And that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But oceans, lakes, rivers, and whales, and they are believed to control the rainfall and the fertility of the land. But they can also cause floods or droughts if offended. Well, we've overcome all them obstacles of the Nagas, and now we have weather wars, and we have laser beams, and we have technological advancements of mankind now, and we can control all that. Forgive me for knocking off on the Nagas, but they taught us how to do that. So there you go. And then they also have this dual nature. Okay, so we want to focus on this dual nature. They're rarely seen as purely good or evil. Instead, they are depicted as powerful, wise, and occasionally they are temperamental beings who can be either helpful allies or dangerous adversaries. It reminds me of the Nanahi that we talked about here in the local areas around here in the Americas. The good Nanahi, bad Nanahi. It's always something, right? It's always war against evil and good. So I want to throw this in here. There was this prominent Naga king, okay? Mukalinda. I think I got that right, Sonny. Mukalinda. Critique me on that one, my friend. It was one of the most famous Buddhist stories. The Naga king, I lost my place. I had a little note there. The Naga king, Mukalinda, sheltered the Buddha from a great storm by wrapping his coils around him and hooded his head with like an umbrella, okay? Like literally had some type of shielding of some shape or form. So it's interesting when you think about Hinduism also, the serpent, I think it's called Shishu or Shisha, and is the king of the Nagas, whom upon the Lord Vishnu resets the cosmic ocean. You hear about the cosmological stance all the time, the Mazaroth, the secret space programs. How much more of insane are we getting into? So the Nagas are pretty prominent too in like modern media. I just want to throw this out here a lot. I've even played video games back in the past with RPGs. I'm put my hand up. I played, I think it was World of Warcraft years ago. Come on now. I never played Dungeons and Dragons, but that is, Nagas are literally often portrayed as aqua. I think it's like an aqua race or humanoid torso over serpent tail. So this is inundated in our culture, regardless of however you want to play that card. So once again, we got serpentine-like beings. The Nagas are here, right? They've always been here. There's something to this interdimensional concept, right? So you're probably thinking, well, Brian, get to the point. What is really going on here? Well, you guys know how I love to reference movies and TV shows and anything goes here on the channel. I want to bring this up here. This video, or this 1980s TV series, The V. I love this old artwork here talking about humankind's last stand. This is the original miniseries that came out way back in the day. If you're an 80s baby, it makes you feel kind of old, but there you go. So it was an original series from 1983 to 1985, and I'll give you a little context here, little plot points of it. It was literally, the premise of the whole show was they had these 50 massive motherships hover over Earth's major cities. I remember watching this later on, even when I was a little older, and they're called, in quote, the visitors. So, we got the setting it up, stop, drop, set them down, open up shop with all the craziness in the know, people in the higher stature. And now the pastors are having secret meetings to prepare your people that the things of old are coming back and they're going to be relabeled as something new. How about that? And these visitors in the V series appear as human and wearing red jumpsuits, believe it or not, and claim they come in peace, to trade advanced technology for minerals. What does that make you think of? Trading for peace. Pros and cons. Just like the antiquity, just back in the day, the Native American culture. We can go back to all kinds of different civilizations talking about these star-like people coming and taking their women and children. And for advanced technology, think about it. Think about it for a little bit. Are we in the same time frame? Is there nothing new in the sun? Is there something else going on here? So the interesting plot of this was I want to focus on the visitors. You have the serpent-like, reptilian-like slit in their eyeballs. You talk about the elites and all this craziness and everything that everybody, this conspiracy tinfoil hat nonsense throughout the days of old. But the problem is, what if it's real and there's shapeshifters out there at a vibratory rate and they have some type of suit that cloaks themselves to, let's just say, blend in? Well, little did I know, you gotta love this red jumpsuit, right? And I'm not even gonna mention the logo, the patch on the side of the right. Okay, I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit trail. But the twist of all this, right? There was a cameraman named Mike Donovan sneaks aboard a ship and discovers the visitors are actually carnivores. They're literally carnivalist reptilian humanoids who wear latex masks to blend in. The truth, the visitors, they're not here for minerals. They are here to steal Earth's water and harvest humanity as a food or some type of source. I didn't say it all the way, but that's according to the plot point of this TV series. Entertainment purposes only here on the channel, but steal Earth's water. It's kind of interesting right now. There's some things drying up in our reality. Just throwing it out there and harvesting, let's just say some diabolical things upon humanity. So, let's just face it. Red jumpsuits blending in, masks are coming off, and whatever kind of nonsense is happening. But y'all remember at the beginning of this program we talked about something back in Iraq, okay? Well, let me show you a picture from the new reboot that came out in 2009 of this particular video, or TV series that they did a reboot in 2009, if my memory serves me correct. Meet the New Arrival. Think about it for a minute. We have visitors. We have come in peace. It reminds me of the FOIA documents, the three-letter agency documents that we've showed here on the channel, talking about these giants and entities that are contemplating setting up shop here on the Earth. Well, as you can see here, meet the new arrival in the V series. And I might not be the smartest individual that ever walked this earth, but doesn't that remind you of the pose or the posture of this? Remember what we talked about a few moments ago? The U-bite lizard men? Could it be a coincidence? Nah, can't be, right? She's at top of the game. She actually, this woman here, continues on playing in that TV series, and she's basically this other female reptilian. That's her. This is the mother. This is the daughter. And you gotta think, it can't be just a coincidence, right? I mean, who in the world or what kind of spiritual applications are applied to this? And they all just consume, like you have all these different things of writers and what have you, and supernatural. I mean, I think it's all supernaturally driven, because it cannot be coincidence. And I'm not throwing off on the V show. I'm just trying to be very lighthearted about how I present this. So, lizard men from back 7,000 years ago, reboot from the V series in 2009. They come in these ships. They have these holographic technology where they're like, "We're here to place you. We're the NHI. We're here to love you. We place you here. Jesus doesn't exist. God doesn't exist. We are your gods. We are your co-creators." Riddle that one, folks, because that's exactly what I just said just a few moments ago. That's the conversation that was talked about during those meetings that Mr. Stone was talking about. I've been seeing it on a little chatter about it online. So little did I know that I'd be looking at a TV series back in the day about the nurturing of these entities, these lizard-like beings with some type of ties to 7,000 years ago antiquity, probably way back beyond that too, when you get into the ancient days, that is not talked about much anymore, it seems. So, what do you guys think? Comment below and comment in the chat, because it's crazy. The Nakash, boom. I seen somebody in the chat. No doubt. No doubt. Absolutely. Well, let's have a little fun here in entertainment purposes only. We always love to have a little fun, but I want to put in some nostalgic stance. We always like to put a little curveball in here, but not only do we have the lizard men, the Nagas, all this stuff that's related to subliminal messaging with TV, rabbit ears, and the TV series V. Look what one of my favorite TV shows as a kid. G.I. Joe, the real American hero. Cobra Commander. Come on, think about it for a minute. So this is going to be kind of interesting to think about when we're kids. When we was kids in the 80s, any 80s babies out there. And this show showed so much stuff that if you go back and watch it now, it's like, oh my goodness, it's verbatim how everything's playing out. They have pyramids of antiquity, ancient serpentine worship, you name it, you got it. But the interesting part of this is 80s military cartoon. We got to think military, and it ran from 1983, once again, there's that 83 in the 80s again, and all the way up until late 80s. And when you think about this, these elite special missions force of Americans, or, the military, or anybody globally that's a human, versus Cobra Commander, the ruthless terrorist, right? Organization determined to rule the earth. To rule the world. Makes you think. And the legacy of it, they're claiming, known for knowing is half the battle. They even make those comments during the TV show. It's weird. Service announcements and all that. The endless roster of specialized characters. We had Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, the ninjas, and then you have Cobra Commander here on the screen here. Well, does anybody out there know? If you look at the Cobra Commander, what he truly is, a lot of people would say, well, he's robotic. He's got this synthetic type of, let's just say, mask, in quote, kind of like the V series. He's mimicking the humanoid stature. But I got distracted there for a minute. One of the other screens went sideways on me there. But human stature of a humanoid, robotics, synthetic, right? But this is what he looks like when he breaks out of his, let's just say, android-like Knights of the Round Table metal armor, right? His veil breaks. He no longer can confuse humans no more. He actually shows his true colors. A reptilian-like humanoid. I don't even call it a man. It's just Cobra Commander, right? And controls all these beings that all look the same. They all wear the same blue and red imagery. It's very compelling if you think about it. Red and blue wars. The global elite are fighting the Cobra. It's so interesting. And you have Cobra Commander looking like a reptilian-like creature that's trying to dominate humanity. And if I remember, my memory serves me correct, if I can go back 30 plus years, I remember seeing some episodes of him even saying he would want to be human or try to do some serums and everything like that and try to transfer himself back into a human. It's so, or if he ever was human, or try to be a biological human hybrid, whatever. And it's so telling today because this was inundated into our society. And so to me, I can't process this. It's almost like, okay, there's nothing here biblical. There's nothing here for informative information. But the person that has the eyes to see, and you see this, I'm not throwing off on this TV show whatsoever, but how the heck did it get inundated into the literature? How did it get inundated into the artwork and have you? There has to be an origins of. There has to have somebody out there with precognitive ability to be able to arrange this. And they must have read something that gave them inspiration. They had to have read ancient antiquity to have inspiration to be able to present this and draw it and articulate it. It just had to have some type of help. I mean, come on. And it's one of the coolest TV shows that I loved when I was a kid. So it has to be. There has to be some kind of connection here. But let's get on to some realistic stuff, not sci-fi, not TV series, and let's get into some stuff that's just so pondering on the reality of and super compelling because we're at the precipice of something dark getting ready to happen upon our land, and people just don't see it. You know, we're like I said at the beginning of the program, I fought to get information out, talking about angelic powers, serpentine worship, everything like that. And I got snuffed out all those years ago because people didn't want to listen to me, and they said I was crazy. But now we're sitting here listening to folks that have been around for a long period of time and that give credit where credit's due. And he's announced this now. So it's going to change the paradigm. It's going to be a paradoxical type of ideology. People's theology, their everything is going to be tossed to and fro over this. They're going to be starting to question everything when these things pop up on the earth. You watch it. It's crazy times. Well, speaking of Blue Star Kachina, the Hopi prophecies, right? I've mentioned this many times here in the channel. And I wanted to take a deep dive into this. I got to get some water here, folks. Gotta get some water. Not doing too bad for doing a fast. I'm on a fast right now for health concerns. I'm actually fasting and I'm drinking water. Haven't had coffee in a day and a half, and I'm on my second day. Probably gonna go 30 days. That's maybe 2 weeks tops. 30 days tops. 2 weeks maybe minimum. But I'm doing it for resetting the brain. So I'm surprised I can even do this. But Hopi prophecies, Blue Star Kachina. This one's very telling to me. So we talked about this many times on the channel. We talked about the Snake Clan, okay? So this one gets really controversial because the Grand Canyon is protected. It's protected by somebody. There's military personnel or somebody with a higher stature of a degree or some type of, secret space, something with tactical gear protecting a certain something site in the Grand Canyon, and there's nobody allowed to go unless you're prohibited to go, and it's unauthorized. They will make you turn around. There's a certain strategic location tunnel where you can't walk through it. So the Hopis back in the day, just think about this. This Hopi tradition, the Snake Clan, it plays a vital role when you think about the complexity of a spiritual landscape, okay? And these oral historicals of these tribes and all this stuff and their significance to tie the balance of nature. And specifically, here we're going to throw this out here, specifically, remember what we was talking about the Nagas? Specifically, the control of the water to maintenance the earth's fertility. Wow, think about that for a moment. Well, the Snake Clan, if anybody's not familiar with the Snake Clan, the responsibilities of the Snake Clan, in quote, I'm still here, folks, by the way. And I didn't know if you could see me in the corner because my camera cut in and out, but I think we're okay. This Snake Clan had this ritual they did. Okay, so hear me out. I'm going to speculate here that location that they're protecting, it's probably tied to this right here, but this Hopi prophecy, this Hopi significance of this fourth world, okay, incoming. So they would call this the snake dance, this multitude of days, this ceremony held, okay? The performance, the profound prayer of it, and the reign, the renewal of the bond between humanity and the natural world, okay? And the Hopi had this, let's just say, they believe that snakes are considered messengers. Messengers, remember, great visitors to the underworld spirits who control the rain and the life givers of water. Oh, man. You know, you just have to put your hands up and you wave them in the air like you just don't care. But I do care. I do care. So I want to throw this in here. So this interconnectedness of all living things, that they put the significance on their context of this, that they really wanted their ancestral migration. They really wanted to tie in something and unite with something under the earth, in the ground. And what I was speaking of earlier with the whole Grand Canyon scenario, they call these spiritual keys and this like shaking of the period of purification. And they would have these ceremonies, these rituals in the day, back in the day. Well, what's so bizarro about it is when you tie all this together and you really focus in on the conversation with Mr. Stone and all the stuff about the reptilian-like creatures and all the stuff, and even back to the Garden of Eden, even back to even ancient days, even the Nagas, everything we just talked about here on the channel. What they would do, the great chieftain would get his I guess soon to the heir of the throne, his oldest son, that was strong, valiant. He would just send him somewhere. The spider woman would give like an elixir to this young man. He would go on this journey into the Grand Canyon, into this place where no man has gone before type of thing, and it was a very, very dangerous journey. It was very dangerous, very horrifying, everything. They're talking about these waters, you could die, suffocation, oxygen, all this stuff. Well, little did I know when I remember reading into this and looking to the Hopi situation, this Snake Clan, remember they gave the spider elixir from the spider woman, and she was a very, let's just say, very well versed in her craft. So she gave her the elixir to the young man. The young man took his journey, and then the young man goes to the Grand Canyon and finds these lizard-like people that are living in the ground, under the earth. Okay? He picks a fair maiden. He picks out a reptilian-like lady. No joke. No joke. Reptilian-like female, and she drinks the elixir. She turns into a looking like Amazon woman, like a fair maiden. Okay? She, a beautiful woman. It almost makes you think, in an inversion to the Genesis 6 narrative, they chose wisely, they chose. Well, a human had to choose a Nephilim-like, alien-like, reptilian-like female and give her elixir to make her look human. Well, guess what happens? They go back on the journey together and they come up and sing Kumbaya and have this ceremony on top of the dry land. Well, they bond because they marry and have a ceremony, and then they tie the tribes together. Well, guess what? Guess what? She has offspring. I'm sorry, folks. She has offspring from this great travel. And it makes you think. It makes you think if they're intertwined some shape or form. So guess what? There's reptilian-like, half-human, half-hybrid creatures walking amongst the earth while we're setting up shop, twiddling our thumbs, and listening to folks that they're saying there's 6 to 12 different bases that have hybridization, end quote, hybridization programs where they're forcing humans to mate with individuals that are probably looking like this. Or it might be the other way around, or they might have captured, this is all hypothetical on my part, I don't have any facts for that, or they captured these ones that are from the inner earth. Think about that one. What if? What if? So what if it's all directly tied to that, and everybody's just sitting here smoking some wacky tobacco, and everybody's acting like they just don't know what's going on, and we have this tribalistic tribes coming together and having a race upon the earth because these reptilian-like entities that are inside this so-called, let's just say, subterranean realm cannot live upon the earth because of certain climate control. Hello, and they had to bond and mate with the humans. Think about that for a minute. But hey, you didn't hear that from me, but that's what they're talking about here in the know. So those individuals that's meeting in these secret meetings and everything and revealing all this reptilian type of knowledge and saying there's reptilian type of biological creatures, what is up with all this stuff in the past? Are we supposed to just snuff it all out and believe none of it existed? Well, I beg to differ, and it about drives me to the cray-cray place, okay? So, not only do we have this interbreeding, intermixing of individuals. They're not, I wouldn't say without the elixir they're not too attractive, or put some what was it, the blending in with the mask. Wouldn't be a good day, would it? Continue on. So this one, you're probably like, well, what the heck is going on here, Brian? What do you got here for us? This is pretty interesting. So as you can see on the screen here, this is artwork of depictions. We got reptilian-like creatures in a vision or dream, okay? Well, this vision and dream, we have one on the left is Melchiresha. I'm trying to pronounce it the best I possibly could. And then on the right, we have Melchizedek on the right. Well, in the middle there, the man, guess who that is? That's Amram, okay? So Amram, guess what he belongs to when it comes to the genealogy and the biblical narrative? That's Moses' daddy. So we have this viperous, serpentine-like, two different races of raptor-like, reptilian-like entities going and saying they're the great watchers. They're these watchers. So these watchers are debating over Amram's body, okay? And they're not having it. And I don't know if it's a physical thing or a spiritual thing or both, because it's a dream, it's a vision. So Melchiresha, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, this is a dark figure and often associated with the Prince of Darkness. And his appearance is dark, and his face is described like a viper. Okay, so we have that viperous type of reptilian-like nature to them. So the other one, Melchizedek, is a luminous figure, the Prince of Light, who eventually reveals himself as a guardian of righteousness. So what is up with that? And this was found with the Dead Sea Scroll fragments, and this was labeled and titled The Visions of Amram. It's so bizarre to me. And even when I come to this knowledge on this, I did not know anything about it until about 10 years. Well, it's less than that, or maybe somewhere in that 10 plus or 10 less than years ago, when my wife bought me the book of The Path of Immortals from the late Tom Horn and Chris Putton, and they mention it in this book. Just a little bit of a snig bit of it on there, talking about this reptilian-like human nature, and this, if you really want to think about it, immortality. What was they fixated on trying to get Amram's body, in the physical sense or the spiritual sense? Probably both. And it kind of makes you think of the book of Jude when Michael and the devil was debating over Moses' body. So that's for a whole nother broadcast in itself. So once again, we got reptilian-like entities playing around in the devil's advocate, trying to take humans, or in the physical form or the vision form or spiritual form. And we have a depictions that goes back to antiquity. Why is it being revealed? What is really going on here? Serpent-like watchers that are trying to debate and tear us apart and give us information, give us knowledge, give us fertility, whatever it is, give us water, whatever the knowledge is of this craziness. So are we looking at interdimensional beings, watchers, portals? I mean, we could look in the description of like thinking of a spiritual warfare involving like high level immortality entities that have, I don't know, influenced humanity history from the shadows. And this is why when I talked about this earlier, talking about this right here, this and Mr. Perry Stone disclosing the information about this meeting with these pastors and preparing people to figure out what's going on and how this is all going to pan out. And I will just say this too, not to get down to the, let's just say in the weeds too much, but there's a certain person that's got a high stature here in the country, and their, let's just say spiritual advisor just said something so spooky on live, like on a conference or something, or some kind of venue or seminar or something. And she was talking about it was just, we don't, paraphrasing, but she was worried about humanity and what trajectory they was going down. So we got aliens, UFOs, biologicals, nonsense, everything under the sun. We got viperless. I'm thinking of the TV series Viper. You remember the red Viper, Dodge Viper? Hello, squirrel. But welcome to the channel, folks. So we have all this stuff that is coming around into a reality, and we're sitting here acting like that we're little g gods ourselves because we've been given toys, we've been given a little bit of fragmented information and toys and to keep us in check while these things are going to come up on the earth once again and set up shop just like they probably did 7,000 years ago. And we'll probably have some crazy person, probably me more than likely, I'll be wielding and taking a wood wield, do some type of carving or something to that magnitude and carving out the visitors of 2027. I mean, think about it, folks, how crazy it all is. And there you go. So Amram, all these folks in the past, the Hopi prophecy, all of it tied to some shape or form of some nonsensical ideology, whatever's going on. I think there's direct connections to ancient antiquity. These things come upon the earth because they're reptilian-like in nature. And I will say this before we jump off here this afternoon. When individuals are telling you all this years their rhetoric about default, like I alluded to earlier with my people that I love so very much, and to this day, if they came back to me and started talking to me, I would tell them, I forgive you for what you said to me and snuffed me out. But the problem is, it's called humanity is on the chopping block. And these spiritual entities and stuff, they have principalities and wickedness and powers above, way above us. But guess what? We're on level playing ground, and people just don't seem to get that. We are on level playing ground. We don't bow to these things. We don't submit to these things. We are actually have more authority over these things, but people don't want us to get it. That's why they're so fixated and want to watch us and want to study us, because they once had good things before they fell out of the heavenly realm. They once wanted something that they had, and they got, let's just say they didn't want it anymore, and they had some issues, so they taught mankind, and they fell at Mount Hermon, and then we have all this mixed compilation of reality, and we're literally being subjected and beguiled just like the days of old, just like the days when Adam and Eve was there at the garden. We're right back again. There's nothing new under the sun, and people are sitting here saying, "Well, we better be prepared. It's failing. We're failed. Everything's falling apart. Gas is high, and I don't know what to do now." And here comes the aliens. Here comes the aliens. Could you imagine? Cobra Commander. And they're going to be subtle, just like the days of old. They're going to be subtle, and we can get into fighting mode and rhetoric and fight each other and be in discord all the time and be separated and divided over topics that makes no logical sense. And when this stuff comes to your doorstep and they actually reveal what they're going to reveal, supposedly what Mr. Stone was talking about, and this great reveal, this great soft disclosure, this full-blown disclosure, and then you got individuals out there that are on the higher authority saying that they're not even going to be disclosure, but you have these individuals all coming together as one body. But back in the day, they're teaching so many different theologies, or different doctrine, not theology, different doctrine, and different things that just cause us all to be in discord and disruption of our mindset. It's blowing my mind that we could go back to the days of old, and people was like, well, there's demons and Nephilim and all these different things and spiritual entities. And now we just say it's just Jesus, the devil, and it's nothing else. It's just humanity. That's a problem, and that's why it's damage control now. That's why these individuals are all coming together as one mind, one accord, because it's damage control, because something's getting ready to come upon the earth and cause men's hearts to fail them. It's damage control. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying anything against Mr. Stone or any of these folks. It's the timeline has shifted too fast, and there's not enough time to play catch up. Okay, we should have been doing this a long period of time ago and been really thinking about and focusing on things. But guess what? The powers that be, with their energy weapons or whatever, their direct mind control MK Ultra weapons, they cause us to be subdued by spirits from the holly over there, the woodwood over there on the west coast, and all that stuff, and causing our minds to be mush and being told to subject ourselves into like we thought it was just fun entertainment, but it was literally spiritually beguiling through the television. My God, where are we at? Wake up, folks. Wake up, sheep, because it's getting out of control. People can say whatever they want to say, get upset with me, and I have a right to my opinion. I have a right to what I believe, and it's just interesting to me because guess what? I'm not going to be standoffish and say, "Oh yeah, I can't stand anybody." I'll talk to anybody. I'm open-minded to anybody, to a conversation piece, because guess what? If you're human, there you go. Think about it. And a lot of people are out around here saying, "Well, we're not human," all this stuff, and all these, and it's causing pain and discord upon humanity, and we cannot be listening to people telling us he said, she said, and pulling us in different directions. It causes problems. It causes problems. And like I said, I'm not knocking off on this individual or anybody of that panel that all gathered. My point is, for these gentlemen, I would say this. If you're scared and worried about what somebody's going to do, then that's a problem. Because if you're worried about what another human's going to do, I'd be more worried about what these reptilians and these entities and these angels and the God that created you and put you here, I'd be worried about what they think, because humans can only do so much, okay? So it's crazy times. It is super crazy times, and I did not realize that those days when I used to think, Brian, all the stuff that you studied, everything that you learned, everything that you was able to retain, everything that you was ever able to comprehend, I didn't think that I was going to get there. And here I am stuck in the trench trying to fight this fight on the spiritual thing, and here we are at the cusp of total depravity. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But keep your humility, keep your humanity, try your darndest to be a better human, like I always say on this channel. We got to be better just in individuals, just in general, because do you think these things care? Do you think these things care? These watchers, they want you to slip up. They're causing this disruption. They want you to believe in a higher authority that's not even the authority that you should be believing in. And that's what I've been talking about for years. Crazy times, crazy times. So wake up, all walks of life out there. Let me know what you think about this, because that's right, James Mack. I'm giving a shout out to you. Brother Brian, bring up the shiny ones. Creeped unaware who they creeped is. I can't read it all. Are they that creep is in unaware? That's right. So we got shiny ones. We've got the knights. We just talked about this in the Stargate series we did a while back. Sunday on another channel, another platform. The shiny ones, the depictions of there's something to do with frequency and the depiction of the sun, and they're radiating some kind of a vibrancy. There's something there that's fooled humanity through antiquity. And this is what we're dealing with to this day. There's something, and the humans would always try to re-engineer what they seen come down from heaven. And they always wanted to have authority over another human, what they was sent down. So just think about it. Mount Hermon talked about it. In Mount Hermon, the angels taught mankind metallurgy. They taught how to war and do all these different things, these different principles. And that's what I'm saying. We're living in the days of Noah 2.0, and all that stuff is coming around the bend. And we're literally sitting here saying, what do? We got our fingers up in the air, and we're just like, what do we do? What do we do? We need a leader. We need somebody to raise up and do something. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work that way, because we are flawed. We are flawed, and we will literally subject ourselves and marvel after things come upon the earth. And we'll sit there, and if somebody drops a shiny can that came off the back of the Vimana, we'll sit there and shine it up real quick and spit shine and put a little signal on it. I did this. I established this. That's the kind of crazy that we've been living in. It's called mankind has lied to themselves, which has made problems throughout historical documentation. It's called gaps in time because of lying. You have not been truthful. You have lied, 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 lied. And guess what happens? Chaos. That's exactly what happens. It is really so dark, and people don't understand it. They don't understand it. And me, all I've said on this channel, I've joked around about it all the time. If they ever donate and drop a ship in the backyard and they ever leave it alone, I don't believe in stealing. But, and I don't teach that. I never have, nor have I overstole. But I can tell you right now, if they leave and there's a cataclysm getting ready to happen, I might take a risk and just kind of walk on up in there, either fall in there and say, take me somewhere else besides here, because this is a battleground that I don't want to be in. I don't want to be a part of it. There's some entertainment purposes only. I actually didn't mean that. Well, I might have it. Well, yeah, I meant it. But other than that, folks, I want to thank you all so very much for being here. This is where we're at. This is the reality we live in. We got subterranean, interdimensional beings living in portals and gates underneath the earth. We can talk about Argotha all you want. We got stuff here inside the earth that's coming upon the earth that men's hearts are going to fail them. And I'm sorry, I don't get in. I'm not going to knock on anybody down in your religion, or anything like that. I'm not going to ever knock on nobody down. This channel is welcome to all walks of life. I'm just spitting it the way I'm spitting it here on the channel. And I'm not going to do any beatboxing either. I'm just giving you the way it is, because things are not what they seem, and we're literally digging in a trench where we shouldn't be digging in. And men's hearts are gonna we're gonna be so just caught off guard, just like Mr. Stone was talking about. This is gonna catch people off guard. They're going to show us technology. They're going to show us things that we could leave. That's why there's things in antiquity. That's why you can go to Karnak and all these different places where it looks like something with vibrant heat was destroyed, because these craft or whatever these entities was, they said, not again, humans. And they just blast it over and do whatever the heck they want to do while we're playing catch up. Well, it's time to catch up. It's time, and spiritually, I'm meaning. And I could go on a big rant about this all day long. I could go on a big a rabbit hole and a big ranting. But other than that, keep your eyes on the one that placed you here. Think about it. I had to get me some drink of water there. But other than that, folks, big shout out to everybody out there. PC user, good seeing you. DGS MMA, it's always good seeing you. Hope everything's good in Arizona. Tim Morrison, you're cracking me up like always. Thanks for always being in the chat and cranking it up about 1,000 times here and helping the algorithm. But like, share, subscribe if you get an opportunity to be part of the channel. I appreciate it. Share this thing out. Hit me up on Facebook. It's kind of interesting. Just want to throw us out here. I have over 120,000 folks on followers on Facebook, but for some reason I can't navigate them over here to the YouTube side of things. So, but that's okay. Maybe one day, and we pray that happens here soon. But other than that, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all so very much for the super chats, donations, all that good stuff, and Kentuckian flow out of here today. But I'm not leaving just yet. I'm gonna give a shout out to James Mack. I'm gonna shout out to you again, Johnny Kirk. It's always good seeing you, and yeah, and Dudley Wicker. It's always good seeing you. I think I seen your comment earlier about gardening. I hope your gardening is going well. I hope it's vibrant and growing out of ever-cracking crevices of your land. I hope you have abundance in your gardening situation, because, well, fertilizer shortage, and use your mind, because you can do about anything. Humans can do a lot, and that's what we was put here for, actually, to do. So you can make a lot of cool things when you're a gardener. You can do a lot. So, yeah, Dudley Wicker, hope you get some coffee. No, I can't drink any coffee. That's the problem. But other than that, y'all be blessed. Y'all have a great day. Thank y'all for your time. It's been a pleasure. Like always, watch out for the lizard people, and the reptilians, because they're living amongst us, apparently, according to all the folks and the powers that be. But other than that, keep it fresh, keep it real, stay away from the happy, you know what, meal. And other than that, Visual Disturbance, I'm out here. Subscribe, share us all out. And thank y'all so very much for being part of the news that's not for everybody. Alien Madness. And once again, be a good human. Just be a better human. And because humanity's on the chopping block, and we just need to be better human and treat humanity better. And these watchers, they might have a different ring to their, let's just say, their agenda. If we actually treat each other better as humans, there could be that might be the missing link to all this. The Watchers are set here to do something, either to monitor, tear us down, manipulate us, make up some type of clown show all day long. It might be because we might need to stop being judgmental and love each other and actually bring humanity back as one. I'm not talking about oneness. I'm talking about actually having that bond of humanity like we're supposed to have and love one another. And then the rest of it falls in place. And these entities, these interdimensional NHI and all this toilet bowl stuff, sewage bowl of my, whatever, of monotony, it'll all go out the toilet. It'll all go back out the, let's just say, the sewage line, and we'll never see it again. So, with that being said, news is not for everybody. Alien madness is on its way. The revelation of the alien agenda is upon us, folks. And I hope y'all are be of good cheer because Visual Disturbance is out of here. But other than that, be blessed and be of good cheer because it's an awesome time to be alive, even though all this madness. Y'all be blessed. Keep your eyes on the one that put you here. Remember that. There's a lot to that. But other than that, Visual Disturbance, I'm out of here. I'm getting tongue-tied. Be blessed. Have a great day. Visual Disturbance, I'm out.
Got one that can see.